It's October 23rd, and the strange side of history awaits. Today, we have a siege that ended in silence, a storm that struck history, and a cinema turned tomb. Let's begin. On October 23rd, 2002, the lights dimmed inside Moscow's Dubrovka theater. A musical had just begun. Laughter, music, and applause filled the hall. But before the second act could start, the doors slammed shut. Armed men in camouflage flooded the aisles, automatic rifles in hand. Chechen militants, led by Mazar Beriev, had come to make a statement, and the stage became their battlefield. 850 audience members, actors, parents, and children were suddenly prisoners. The gunmen wired the theater with explosives. As the hours dragged into days, the standoff grew darker. Food ran out. The air turned heavy. Every whisper echoed like it might be the last. Right outside, Russian forces surrounded the building. Negotiations faltered, and then, on the third night, the government made its move. A mysterious gas was pumped into the ventilation system. A colorless chemical swept through the auditorium in silence. Within minutes, the gunfire stopped, but so did breathing. The special forces finally entered, and the attackers were dead, yet so were over 170 hostages. Rows of bodies slumped in their seats as if the play had never ended. The government never released exactly what gas was used. Even today, the survivors describe the scent, the dizziness, and the strange calm before the collapse. Theater seats, a stage, and a story meant to entertain turned into a tomb. After these events, the theater never reopened, and the official investigation was never released or even properly discussed. Over the decades, there are still so many questions left unanswered. What made them use a gas that not only killed the attackers, but the hostages as well? On October 23, 1666, the skies over Lincolnshire, England, turned against the earth. In a year already haunted by fire and plague, villagers looked up to the clouds, twisting like living things, dark, churning shapes that blotted out the afternoon sun. The air grew thick with silence, and animals bolted, and then the sound came. A roar, deep, unending, like the heavens themselves were tearing open. Without warning, the first major tornado in English history touched down. Historians estimate that it reached a force of an F4, winds over 200 miles per hour. Unheard of for this quiet countryside. Stone walls shattered, thatched roofs ripped away, and entire cottages vanished into a dark swirl. In a century that saw omens in every shadow, many believe that it was God's wrath, or worse, the devil's breath. And when the storm finally passed, it left behind not just destruction, but silence. Fire, plague, and then this, as if England had not already gone through enough that year. It makes it understandable how they looked for answers when they didn't understand. On October 23, 1927, the people of Tampere, Finland, filed into the Imatra cinema for what should have been an ordinary evening. A showing of The Wages of Virtue, a silent film, a bit of escapism for the long northern nights. The lights dimmed and the projector whirled to life. And for a moment, the world outside didn't exist. Then came the smell, sharp, chemical, and wrong. In the projector room, the reel of nitrate film, notoriously unstable, more explosive than gunpowder, had caught fire. The projectionist tried to stamp it out. The room ignited in a flash of white heat. Flames shot through the open door, reaching out to the aisles like a living thing. Within seconds, smoke poured through the theater. Elegant curtains ignited, people screaming, stumbling over seats, crawling for the exits that were already choked with heat. Those on the balcony faced an impossible choice: jump or burn. Outside onlookers could hear the muffled cries from behind the wall. When the fire finally died, 20 were dead, nearly 30 injured. The smell of burnt cellulite lingered for days. All that remained of the projector melted into a single lump of metal, a grim monument on how something as innocent as a movie night can turn into a nightmare. Back then, cinema was pure magic. They came for a story on screen, but unfortunately, the real tragedy played out right in front of them instead. Another day, another strange bite from history. Like, comment, and subscribe. Your next eerie dose is just a day away.